The truth of the matter is that, to be serious for a moment, we have a mass recession. We have mass unemployment. And where is the left? Where is the left? The left that represents the working man. The left that represents the British working class. The left that represents the international proletariat inside Britain in the 30s. They were in the streets. They were in the unions. They were thinking about how they could take power in the society. Every time you had an economic dip in the early 90s to a degree, in the early 80s under Thatcher, remember the right to work marches? Right to work. Many of the people on those marches never done a day's work in their life, but they wanted the right to work, and they could mass tens of thousands in the streets. Where are they now? They're finished. The left has gone from history. The Soviet Union was an utter disaster. A genocidal disaster, and nobody, even radicals who are anti-system in the West, wants to touch them now. The only way in which they can be radical is to oppose us. Because the next 20 to 50 years will see the rise of the right in various forms, all over the world, in all groups. What we have to make sure is that the right that comes up in our society represents us, and our values, and our traditions. Because we know who we are. We don't need laws to describe who we are. We don't need little a priori prejudicial statements which prevent us from saying what we are. We know who we are. Kipling once said, the English deep down know who they are, the English that only the English know. And we know what we are, we know what we've been capable of, we know what we can do again. Nearly all of our people agree with us in a subtle way, but they're afraid. They're afraid. Their establishment has betrayed them, and they wonder what to do. They feel helpless and bereft. An organisation like this has to lift people up. It has to give them strength and hope in their hearts. Things are going to change in the next 25 to 50 years very radically. Ecological damage, economic stress, the collapse of versions of capitalism without the left as a safety net and an alternative. We're going to see benefits cut in the next couple of years. We're going to see the easy years, if they were easy, and they weren't for many, in the 60s and 70s go. The idea that there are jobs to be had is going. So there's underneath the surface of Sky News and Happy Clappy and Amy Winehouse snorting drugs, under the surface of that, there's a great tension in this society, and there's a great sense of foreboding. Deep polling by the BBC thinks that many people are deeply worried that there'll be conflict in this culture, worried that there's no one to lead them, worried about the collapse of our identity in various forms, and we are in considerable collapse. You don't have to go around many of our cities. You notice the decay in the infrastructure, you notice the amounts of blatant criminality. Where are the police? Just see the police as they drive around in their cars and they fly over cities in their numbered helicopters. They're all dressed in yellow now, so you can see them from a distance, but they're firemen. They come at the end. They come after it's kicked off. They get out of the wagon when people are lying on the ground. They come at the end, not at the beginning. They're just to put it out and dampen it down. They see their remit as partly preventing inter-community tension rather than solving crime and dealing with some of the gangs that I've talked about proliferating in inner Birmingham and elsewhere. So this country's in trouble.